Dad, there's something I really need to tell you, and it's difficult really because I've been wanting to tell you for a while, but it's it's. Hello, son. Well, you know you can tell me anything you like. You don't need to hide anything from me, your dad. It's well, it's like it's. Come on, son. Spit it out. Come on, get it off your chest. Come on, you can tell me. Well, what I've been wanting to tell you is it's baggy hi-fi time. Greetings, cats and kittens. Welcome once again to Baggy Hi-Fi, this YouTube channel devoted to record collecting and the vinyl community here in the UK. Hope everyone is well. Now, this video is a follow-up to a video I made a couple of months ago about recent vinyl finds which were connected with the Canterbury scene, which first emerged in the sort of late 60s, early 70s in the south of England, and then kind of spread out all the different connected members of bands like Egg, Caravan, Soft Machine, Gong, Kevin Ayers, Hatfield in the North, all those members that would interchange. And I think if anyone tried to do a family tree of the Canterbury scene bands, they'd have a really hard job on their hands. So I'm not going to do an overview of the Canterbury sound or the Canterbury scene, but just overall description. I think what you can expect from these records is progressive, not necessarily in the kind of traditional prog sense, progressive, jazz influenced, quite whimsical, quite English, jazzy, psychedelic at points. Anyway, I'm going to show you records I've bought probably in the last couple of months which do have a Canterbury connection. And the first one I'm going to show is really where it all started, with the Soft Machine. Although there was a band prior to the Soft Machine that came out of Canterbury, the Wild Flowers, which I think had Kevin Ayers in, Hugh Hopper, and who else? And Robert Wyatt, I think. But this is the first album by the Soft Machine. It's a recent reissue, and a really nice reissue of their first album from 1968. The original used to have a sleeve that moved a bit like Led Zeppelin 3. This is a gatefold version. There's pictures of here Mike Radledge, the keyboard player, Robert Wyatt, drummer, Kevin Ayers, bass player. And at the time, 68, 69, the Soft Machine weren't really quite the jazz rock album outfit that they became. They were certainly a little bit jazzy, but also quite psychedelic, quite like a psychedelic beat group of the time. There's a few bits of avant-gardisms in here, but really classic first album. I've long enjoyed this one. Has quite a lot of singing by Robert Wyatt, who didn't quite have that sound that he had later on. It's a bit more kind of American sounding. And the great Kevin Ayers, who left after this album, and I'll be talking about Kevin Ayers a little bit later on. So this reissue reproduces the original Probe label. I did used to have an original of this, but I'm not sure what happened to it, but there it is, Probe label. Now, David Allen of Gong was a member of the Soft Machine early on, but apparently I think he wasn't allowed back into the country for some reason, and so he's not on this album, and he formed the band Gong in France. Now, this next record, definite Canterbury connection once again. It's an album by Richard Sinclair. Now, Richard Sinclair was in Caravan initially, famously sang on their acclaimed album In the Land of Grey and Pink. He also joined later on Camel for a while, and he was also the singer in Hatfield and the North, all these interconnected bands. Now, Richard Sinclair has a very sort of lugubrious voice, and he's a great bass player. Now, this album, Caravan of Dreams, was brought out in 1991. It's a double album because it was originally just on CD only. I never had a copy of this, but this has been reissued by an Italian label, Zam Musica, or New Platform label. I think that Canterbury prog is probably more appreciated in Europe than it is in the UK or perhaps in the States as well. Definitely very much loved by the Europeans. Nice sticker of Richard Sinclair here. Let's say it's a double album because the original CD was probably too long to put out on vinyl. 1991 was definitely the era of CDs. By this stage, Richard Sinclair's voice sounds the same. It's still really kind of charming, very British sounding singing style. Fretless bass playing by this point, very jazzy. Lovely album this, really enjoyed it. Songs, some instrumental bits and pieces, very jazzy. Caravan of Dreams, really nice to see this out on vinyl. Next, an album by National Health. Now, National Health are a band formed by Dave Stewart, formerly of Egg and Hatfield in the North, after Hatfield in the North split up. Probably more of a serious jazz rock outfit than the whimsical jazz of Hatfield in the North. And I was really pleased to find a copy of this one, National Health album, which is quite hard to get hold of. And this is DS Al Coda, 1982. And it's a tribute to Alan Gowan, who was a keyboard player who was in National Health and also in the band Gilgamesh. There's a reissue of Gilgamesh's first album. So these are pieces written by Alan Gowan and played by the band at the time, National Health. Phil Miller, guitars, formerly Hatfield in the North, Dave Stewart, formerly Hatfield in the North, John Greaves, formerly of Slap Happy, and I think also Henry Cow. Pip Pyle, drummer of Hatfield in the North, was also in National Health. So this is on quite a label I've never heard of, Lounging Records. There's the label. And this is certainly quite tricky jazz rock, electric jazz rock, very British sounding, really rewarding to listen to. I think that's Alan Gowan, looking rather monkish on the cover there. So really, really pleased to find this to add to my National Health Canterbury collection. Now, a figure who was in Soft Machine, Hugh Hopper, also played with various other Canterbury luminaries. This is an album I have had for quite a while. This is Hugh Hopper, Elton Dean, of course, saxophone player in Soft Machine, Keith Tippett, jazz pianist who died not so long ago, also played on Lizard, the King Crimson album, and Joe Gallivan, drums and synthesizer. This is on a label, quite obscure label, Culture Press, and really nice album. This features one of the songs that Matching Mold played. So there's all these, as I keep on saying in this video, all these musicians moving around into each other's bands, quite hard to keep up with, but fascinating to follow. So that's Mercy Dash by those 4 musicians. Hugh Hopper, bass player. Hugh Hopper album here, which I think should win an award for the worst album cover of this video. Hugh Hopper Monster Band from 1973. First side are home recordings by Hugh Hopper, playing his bass and all the other instruments. It has a very compressed sound, probably because it's probably recorded on cassette or something. But first side, nice, but not as good as the second side, which is live and features a Hugh Hopper on bass, Elton Dean on saxello, and 2 French players on keyboards and bass. Actually 1974 that was recorded in Bordeaux in France. Terrible sleeve, but really good album. Quite a bit of improv going on here on these Hugh Hopper compositions. And then another album here, Phil Miller. It's under Phil Miller's moniker. Phil Miller, guitarist in Hatfield in the North, and brother of Steve Miller. I've shown some albums he made with Lol Coxhill. More of Lol Coxhill in a moment. This is an album, it's called Cutting Both Ways. Came out in, when was it? 1987. Features Dave Stewart from Egg, Hatfield in the North, National Health. On keyboards, Pip Pyle, drummer. Hugh Hopper is on here as well. So a bit of a super group here, all contributing to this Phil Miller album. This is on Impetus Records, I think the jazz rock label, UK jazz rock label. Now what put me off a little bit about this when I was reading the notes on the back is talking about the utilising the latest developments in music technology. Now, and you can see it has a DX7 Prophet emulator, so I thought this is going to sound very 80s. Now, it does a little bit in parts, but nevertheless, a likeable Canterbury jazz rock album from the 80s. And I'm going to show you, this is just another Hugh Hopper connection. I don't think this was released on vinyl. This is a remark Hugh made by Hugh Hopper and Kramer. Now, Kramer's Mark Kramer. He was in Shockabilly and also Bongwater, the American avant-garde bands of the 80s, 90s. Big admirer of Hugh Hopper, and he made this album with Hugh Hopper. Also Gary Window is on here, another British jazzer that has a Canterbury connection, also a King Crimson connection. So that's a CD I recommend with Hugh Hopper. So quite a few Hugh Hopper related albums here. Going to do some needle drops now of a couple of these albums. Next record I'm going to show is by an artist called Coxhill, not actually from Canterbury, but he did play once again with Canterbury connected musicians, and he played on a couple of Kevin Ayers albums, including the fantastic Shooting at the Moon album, which was Kevin Ayers' second album. But this one is the first solo double album by Coxhill, a musician who was quite a bit older than some of the other sort of soft machine type musicians that I've already shown. And he'd already played in a few jazz bands, but he, as I say, became connected. But he's best remembered probably now as a improviser musician, free music musician, played mainly the soprano sax. Now this album, double album by Coxhill, Ear of the Beholder, came out in 1970, double album. Pete from Sounds of the West Coast VC channel showed this in a recent video, and I did comment how envious I was that he'd found a copy of this. Not in the cover's not in the greatest of conditions, but the vinyl's pretty good. And the bonus is, there's the gatefold. The bonus is that it was released on John Peel's Dandelion label. I think it's the only record I actually own on John Peel's Dandelion label. There you go, beautiful label there. Now, Pete said that he found this quite a challenging listen, and very kindly sent me this double as VCLT, as a gift. So thank you, Pete, because I agree, it is quite a challenging listen. It's quite a difficult album. There's a lot of indulgent improvised saxophone playing on here, quite a lot of solo saxophone hooting on here. His children are involved, as you'll hear in the needle drop. Coxhill's children sing and contribute. The whole atmosphere of this album really is one of the kind of desire for freedom in the British underground in the late 60s, you know, kind of anything goes. And it is quite indulgent, but I do like it, and I'm really pleased to have a copy, so thanks again, Pete. That's Ear of the Beholder by Coxhill. The final record I'm showing in this video brings us full circle in a way, because Kevin Ayers, I showed that first Soft Machine album. Kevin Ayers left Soft Machine, pursued a solo album, and this is a new reissue on the Esoteric label of his first album, solo album, Joy of a Toy. Seen this shown a few times on the VC. Absolutely beautiful album. I love this one to bits. Lovely songs on here, lovely singing. Girl on a Swing, what a beautiful song. Lady Rachel, very melodic, but also the instrumentation is definitely soft machiney, because it features members of the Soft Machine, Hugh Hopper again, Mike Ratledge, David Bedford playing piano, Robert Wyatt plays on all the drums on here. Lovely, lovely album. Lots of different, he boasts on the liner notes about the instruments on here. Hawaiian guitar, piccolo, recorder, oboe. Canterbury masterpiece, Joy of a Toy, and lovely to see this reissued. Sort of the colours reflect the original colours of when it was released originally on the Harvest label. So hope you enjoyed that trawl through recent Canterbury related vinyl finds of mine. See you in the next video. I'm not sure what that's going to be just yet, but hope everyone is well, and I shall see you soon. Bye for now.
On the wall, we'll go for just Mr. say that they want to be free. They look at him and they look at me. But it's only themselves now wanting to see. And everybody knows about it. We talk all night and we're all turned on. Everybody heard him singing his song, telling us there was work to be done. And we all sung the chorus, that I am the walls.